In our view, it is the responsibility of government to provide equality of opportunity with a fair and comprehensive support system for those who are most vulnerable.
Treasurer Joe Hockey will hold more talks today with crossbench senators as he tries to firm up support for his first budget. Those talks might prove a little harder after new Treasury research released under Freedom of Information found the government knew the budget would leave low-income earners disproportionately worse off.
We spend more on welfare than we spend on any other single policy area.
The government this week will ramp up its message that urgent cuts have to be made to the budget. As I've said to you many times before, there is no present budget emergency. If there was, our AAA credit rating would be under threat.
Payments are too broadly available to too many people. As a result, less is available to those most in need.
Joe Hockey stepping up efforts to find common ground with the diverse and often unpredictable crossbench senators. He wants support for a range of budget measures, from GP co-payments to welfare changes and higher education deregulation.
I will meet with anyone who is sensible, and the independent senators so far are proving to be sensible, unlike some of the others in the upper house.
And that's about creating jobs. Instead of spending money on $900 cheques to people, we are building infrastructure.
The Liberal Democrat Senator David Lionhelm says the government's done a poor job of explaining why it wants to cut spending.
Manifestly inadequate, I would suggest. They really haven't brought the public with them on that problem.
The Federal Treasury Department has released figures under Freedom of Information comparing the budget effect on cash transfers like welfare benefits to that on income tax. The figures show that in 2016-17, low-income earners would be $844 worse off compared to a $517 impact on high-income earners. The gap widens once the temporary deficit levy on wealthy Australians is removed in subsequent years. But on Channel 9, the Treasurer angrily denied a Fairfax report that the information shows the government knew its budget would hit poor people the hardest.
It fails to take into account pensions, which is not included in that table, which are a substantial payment. It also fails to take into account the massive number of concessional payments.
To put it in perspective, around 1 in 10 households rely entirely on the government for their household income.
The Shadow Treasurer Chris Bowen says the government can't disown the figures.
There have previously in budget papers been a series of tables showing the impacts on families of different incomes right across up and down the income scale. This Treasurer took them out. And I think this data confirms why. Now, of course, you've always got to look at the budget in total, but this is quite strong data, which the Treasurer wanted to keep hidden. These are Treasury figures. These aren't Sydney Morning Herald's figures, not the Labor Party's figures. These are Treasury figures, which have been released under FOI. And they go to the impact of this budget.
Well, the Australian economy is not in trouble. We've had 23 years of consecutive economic growth. We want another 23 years.
Really and truly, the barefaced gall, the sheer front of this person.